What's up, guys? So, wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about buying electric guitars for beginners. Christmas is coming up. Maybe you know somebody who wants to get into electric guitar. Maybe you want to get them a guitar, an electric guitar setup for Christmas. I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts on that and the best way to do it. The way that I did it is not the way that I would recommend doing it, at least not exactly. I had very cheap stuff when I started, and it was tough to play, and I grew out of it really quickly. Speaking of cheap stuff, this is a cheap guitar. This is a $130 brand new Squier Fender Stratocaster humbucker single coil. I bought this for my 2-year-old son so that he could toss it around and play it while I play guitar. I have no intention of him ever actually learning on this. It's tough to play, and it's pretty cheap. Now, there's guys that are just going to tell you that they're great, and for 130 bucks, I mean, it's a lot of guitar. I'm not going to act like it's not. It's got a pretty modern bridge. It intonates nicely. You can't really use the whammy bar on it, which is why it's not here. But it intonates okay. The pickups are okay. They're not great. The volume and the tone pots are smooth. The pickups are, I mean, they're okay. They're kind of junk. The fretboard and the frets are nice. That all came out really nice. The tuners are okay. They hold tune a lot better than any cheap guitar I would have had 15 years ago when I started playing. You know, if you absolutely have to, this is probably the only cheap guitar I would even consider getting. There's guitars cheaper than 130 bucks. They're a waste of money. You may as well spend that $100 on something else, or 130 bucks on something else. If you absolutely have to go cheap, the Fender, you can see it says Fender back there, Fender Squier Stratocaster, and I wouldn't go for the cheaper bullet. There's a $100 one that's either red with a white pick guard or black with a white pick guard. I think there might even be a pink one too that's like smaller. That's 3 single coils, and they're really bad. They're made in China. This one's made in Indonesia, crafted in Indonesia. Excuse me. Crafted in Indonesia. This is as low as I'd go as far as new guitars. Anything lower than this is absolute garbage. But as you can hear, this one it gets there. I mean, that's not awesome, but for 130 bucks, it's not bad. This is just a cheap Alnico bridge pickup. Give you some clean tones too. I'm going to talk about the amp I'm using in a minute too. This is with the neck and middle pickup, so. Here's just the neck pickup. You know, so I mean, it kind of gets there, but it's all right for 130 bucks. My kind of recommendation for this type of stuff, and for any musical instrument really, is to kind of look at it as it's a major purchase, and it's a major you know, investment. You want them to keep playing. You don't want to spend $130 on a guitar and 6 months later have them outgrow it and have to spend another $300. I mean, at that point, you've already, I mean, you're in the hole. You know what I mean? So here's my recommendation. Right now, say you were to buy somebody one of the newest gaming systems, say you were to buy them a PlayStation 4. A PlayStation 4 right now goes for $350 brand new, and that's with a pack with a single game, I believe, and a single controller. So there's obviously extra steps you could take. But I would say look to spend on an entire electric guitar set, $350. Now that may sound like a ton, but it's really not. It's kind of, my furnace is kicking on. New man cave is basement furnace area. Anyway, the $350 set is price point I think is really good. You can do a lot with that, and I'm going to explain what you can get. So let's start. Put this down. Let's start with the amplifier and what amplifier you can get. So amplifiers are an added cost of buying an electric guitar. So the amp I was playing through is a Blackstar ID Core. Shows the picture. Blackstar ID Core. This is the 10 watt. It's stereo, so it's 5 watts, 5 watts. As you heard in the video, it sounds pretty good. These are $100 brand new. So out of your $350 budget, the amp should cost you $100. Now at the $100 price point, you've got a lot of options. Fender has a $100 option. There's this Blackstar ID Core. Marshall has a $100 option. There's a lot of, you get a lot of amp for money at $100. It's not even very loud, but if they're new players, you're not going to want to play loud. You're just going to want something that sounds good. So this sounds good. Blackstar ID Core, they sound good. The Marshalls sound good. The Fenders sound pretty good if you're playing cleans and whatever. It kind of depends on what type of music they want to play. But I'd say for a $100 amplifier for a new player, that's going to be perfect for them. This is a $100 amplifier I've been playing for 15 years, and I use this at night when everybody's asleep. So $100 amplifier is going to get you a long way. That leaves you $250 to spend on a guitar. Obviously, you can go the less expensive route and spend less than $350. And if you want to go with a Squier Bullet, you certainly can. And it'll get them there. It'll be an okay starter guitar for them. But I would suggest bringing somebody. Don't order it sight unseen. These can be the quality with these can be all over the place. This one's pretty nice, but I've been playing for a long time, and I picked up 3 or 4 of them before I decided, no, this is the one that feels the best, and this is the one we bought. Now I bought this for a 2-year-old who's going to drop it and probably break it before he's even old enough to actually play. But I'd say bring somebody with you. If you don't have somebody to bring with you, you're looking at a $250 price point, which at that point brings me to another point. At $250, you have incredible options. If you want to get a Strat, at $250, you're looking at the Squier Standard Series, which is far and away better than the Bullets. You've got nicer necks, nicer bodies, full-size bodies. This isn't full-size, this is small. Full-size bodies, nicer tremolos that actually stay in tune. The neck on this is actually not bad. You have nicer necks, nicer construction, nicer wood, just something, an instrument that's going to last longer, much nicer pickups in the Standard Series. The Standard Series Squiers, you really can't, you'd almost have to spend double really in the Fender range to get something better. So, at that point, those are really a nice starting point at $250. Now, if they're in metal, the flat color, non-tremolo Jacksons start at the $250 price range. Again, really good pickups. They come with compound radius necks and jumbo frets, sharp 150 works. It's a Jackson guitar. It looks like a Jackson, feels like a Jackson, plays like a Jackson. It sounds great. They're really nice guitars. You can grow into them. You can replace the pickups, you can replace the bridge, everything. You can replace the tuners, and bit by bit, you've got a lot better guitar, better playing, better sounding, better feeling guitar. And they use nice woods and nice constructions for the most part. So I would really recommend the $250 range for the guitar, because that's something that's going to last. Say you buy it for a 12-year-old, that $250 guitar and $100 amplifier is going to last them until they're good enough to actually play in a band. And that might, then maybe you look at upgrading to the $500 or $600 guitars, bigger, more expensive amps that are louder. But that's really depending on need. Somebody may never progress past the $250 guitar and $100 amplifier. They may just be a bedroom guitar player and enjoy playing in the room, playing to CDs. Now, the reason that I really like this amplifier over others is just the sheer amount of features that come with it. It's a little dusty because it's sitting down here. I've owned this for about a year. I got it for my birthday last year, which is in December. And the sheer amount of features on this really kind of just blew it away. For starters, there's two small speakers here, so it's stereo. You have onboard built-in stereo effects. So you've got your effects built in. You don't need anything other than this little box. And as you can see, it's got a nice little strap. It's super light. It goes anywhere. I can bring it upstairs. I can bring it downstairs. I can bring it to my friend's house. I can do anything. It's got MP3 line in. The MP3s will play through this. You can play along with your favorite songs. Headphones for silent practice. Or it'll just play songs for $100. I mean, this is just a nice 10-watt speaker to play songs. Honestly, if you quit playing guitar, this will still work to play your MP3s. It's that cool. USB. There's a USB out. You plug the amplifier into your computer, and you can tweak the tones and also do direct recording. Set your tones, and then you just click over. Use there's a button here. I won't explain all the features because there's tons of them. But for $100, this has an immense amount of features. Something that even somebody playing 20 years would enjoy. And it's nice and quiet, and it sounds good. I mean, I would put this, up against anything 2 or 3 times the price. The sound is great. I mean, you're sacrificing a little bit of volume, I think, going at this price point. But at the same time, if they're just learning and just playing in your bedroom, you don't need to be loud. You don't need the Mesa Boogie half stack. You're not playing in front of crowds. You're playing in your bedroom to songs, to MP3s, to yourself, and that's really kind of where this shines. And I think that's really where the beginner guitarist and like the learning guitarist kind of gets started. And I think that's really what keeps it fun, is playing along with your favorite songs. Now back to guitars. Like I said, Fender Squier strap. Don't go any cheaper than these, and at the $130 price point. There's a lot of things in the $130 price point. Most of them are garbage and are not worth $130. Fender's one of the biggest retailers of guitars, if not the biggest. They may be the biggest now in the world. So you get a lot of bang for your buck with Fender products. Fender owns Jackson, Charvel, Gretsch, Squier, probably some other ones that I'm forgetting about. But anyway, so with Fender guitar, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck because they can price them at a price point because their distribution is so wide that they can price them so low and source them so low because there's so many of them. So, for what costs $130 a Fender product, to match that in another product might cost you $200 or $250. I wouldn't go any lower than this, though. Like I said, I'm not sure how it's going to hold up. I doubt it'll make it to At least not all of it. I doubt it'll all make it to the age of where my 2-year-old is actually able to learn how to play. But you know, it's not bad for what it is right now. He likes to bang on it while I play guitar, so that's really what I bought it for, and that's kind of my thought, is to get him interested now. And he loves it, and I can plug it in for him. So that was really my thought behind it. But at the $250 price range, that's really where you're going to kind of get the most bang for your buck. Now, what are you going to look for at the $250 price range? Now, I'm going to pull out another guitar that I built, just so I can kind of give you the rundown. Now, this cost me about $750 or $800 to build. It's a Telecaster, obviously, but it's important to talk features. So this has Seymour Duncan pickups. You're probably not going to get anything with name brand pickups at the $250 price point, but that's okay. The $250 price point, they're going to use nicer materials to make the pickups. You'll get either nice ceramic pickups or maybe even an Alnico pickup, and you know, it'll sound pretty good. Pots, you'll get better quality pots. I would avoid at the $250 price point a tremolo. This is an original Floyd Rose tremolo. An original Floyd Rose tremolo costs $200 brand new. So on a $250 guitar, they're not going to put a $200 tremolo on it. They're just not. The tuners, however, you can get a decent set of tuners for $30. They just have to hold tune. Most tuners do that now. That used to be a problem back in the day. It's not really anymore. You know, anything at that $250 price range, the tuners are going to work well enough. Depending on what style of music you play, that's kind of where I'd look for, you know, what they want. If they want to play country, look at Telecasters. I mean, this is obviously a hot-rodded Telecaster. This isn't what a standard Tele would be, but you know, if they want to play country, get them look at Telecasters. If they want to play heavy metal, look at Jackson's. At $250, you can also look at some Ibanez stuff. You can look at Dean makes some okay stuff, BC Rich, and that stuff's all priced really well. I wouldn't go for anything, like I said, with a floating tremolo if you're going to go the heavy metal route, just because they're so expensive, and a cheap one's just going to frustrate a new player. Hell, even expensive ones frustrate new players. Probably not the best to start. I love them. I wouldn't play a guitar without one, but I've also been playing for 15 years, and you know, maybe for their second guitar, if it's something they're into, but for the first guitar, I'd avoid it outright. Other features you're going to want to look for is the fret size. On this, one of the reasons I wouldn't purchase this is the frets are tiny. They're very low to the board. Your fingers get wood, they drag on the wood, and that's just, to me, that's uncomfortable. I don't feel like this guitar plays all that great, but you know, if you look at the $250 guitars, they're using at least medium jumbo frets, if not jumbo frets, on the Jacksons, and you know, it just feels much better. You know, you're not getting wood under your fingers when you're doing bends and when you're learning that stuff. Next, you know, the next thing I would look at is see how some people are going to be like, that's stupid, that doesn't make sense. Check the strap pins. If they wiggle around, if they're loose, that probably means the body's made of some soft plywood garbage. And don't buy that guitar, because the strap pins will fall out, the guitar will fall to the ground, and you'll hurt it, it'll break. Check the jack. You know, make it, and I just made this one loose. Check the jack, make sure it's it doesn't make a lot of noise when you plug it into the amplifier. It'll click and if it does that, maybe don't buy it. I don't know if I'd buy a $250 guitar without touching it first, but you know, sometimes you don't have a choice if you don't have a guitar center. It's handy. Places I would go, I would look first at Musician's Friend, because they have a huge selection, and that's, you know, you can narrow it it down, click guitars, electric guitars, solid body, or whatever you're looking for. Narrow it down to the price point, say, alright, here's the 15 or 20 guitars in the $250 price range. What's going to work out best for them? You know, ask somebody who knows. Hell, ask me. If you're curious, leave a comment, message me on YouTube. I'm happy to help. You know, and then kind of go from there. Pick something, and the other place I would look is Sweetwater. They give great customer service, and the guys who will sell you the guitars also play guitar, so they're also going to be able to make recommendations for you. And Sweetwater always has the best financing options available, so if money's an issue, you know, they can kind of try to make it more affordable for you, and they're really cool guys. I know for a fact they carry this amp at Sweetwater, so you can check with them on that, and you know, they'll have a good range of guitars as well at that $250 price point. Now, back to my video game analogy. So 250 or 350 bucks for a new gaming console. Get you one game, one controller. But sometimes, you know, you want to beef it up a little bit. Maybe get the extra game. Maybe get another controller. I would suggest also doing that with guitars. At the $300 price range, you get a few more options. That extra 50 bucks gets you a licensed Floyd Rose tremolo at the $300 price point. It's a much better tremolo. You can use that. You can look at tremolos at that point. If whomever you're buying the guitar for is big into that, I mean, it's kind of coming back now. But if, you know, they're into like the 80s shredder kind of thing, or even just want to do dive bombs and stuff, you can trust those trims. They're much better. At that point, you kind of open up your options a little bit. You can look at Kramer's. You can look at some of the other the higher end BC Riches. You could get better tops on them. You get quilted tops. There's some Jacksons that have some licensed trims, some Dinkies. So I mean, and at that price point, I think at the $350 price point, you can kind of pick up any Jackson shape. They'll have one either with or without a Floyd. I think without a Floyd they come in at $300. With the licensed Jackson Floyd, which isn't bad, they come in at $350. You can get any shape. You can do the Kelly, you can do the Warrior, the V, the King V, the Rhodes V, the Dinky, whatever you want. And I think that at that price point, the next step up, the $300 to $350 price point, I think your options really open up, and I think that those are really guitars that can be kept for a long time. I have a $300 Kramer that I use all the time, and you know, I put a Seymour Duncan in it. It goes to every show. So you know, I think at that price point it opens it up a little bit more. But if price is an issue, I think the $250 price point for guitars is great. Like I said, for a beginner, $100 amplifier is going to be perfect. I wouldn't look to spend any more on an amplifier than that. If anybody's going to try to tell you, oh, well, you need to spend, you know, $200 or $300 on an amplifier to really get something nice, don't buy from them, because they're lying to you. You can get great sounds out of a $100 amplifier, and it's going to be quiet enough for the beginner to practice and learn on their own, without kind of, you know, shaking the walls and annoying everybody in the house. So anyway, guys, that's my spiel. Here's my finished Telecaster. I guess yeah, I'm not going to plug everything back in, but here's my finished Tele. I'll probably do a video on this here, and play it and give some tones. But everybody, hope they have a good Thanksgiving. If anybody has any questions, comments, think my videos suck, whatever, leave it in the comments, and I will talk to everybody soon.